Last week on Young Single Mothers.
I was thankful for my dad because, hey, my dad will give you money.
One of those. I hear you. One of those.
Hey,
yes.
My father, you have to work. So I remember the time I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was a DJ. Back in high school, DJ Tonderai,
Tonderai.
So, yes, I want to look cool. It was, if I have to look cool, I need to make money.
1, 2, 3, go!
If you're young and just single and a mother,
You never know what God can do.
but you better believe you can make it through. Stand up tall and pay your dues.
This is YSM.
So we had a studio back then called High Density Records. My dad was like, I know you can be, he saw that I was very interested into anything to do with IT.
Mm-hmm.
So he bought me a laptop. So I was doing a bit of graphic design. So I charge people when I do my design. I would bend CDs, so that, because I know when you ask my dad for money to go to school, I didn't want him to go drop me at school because I thought it was cool to go by bus, and not to be got dropped. So like, I'll find my own ways to go to school.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. And then he'll calculate for you. How much is your bus from? Such place, then he writes. To this place, then he writes. Food, you're going to carry your container. When coming back, so you're given the exact amount. But I'm like, I can't live like this. I need to do my own thing. I don't want to carry a container to school because I want to look cool.
You want to be in the tuck shop.
Yes.
Why do we do that, guys? Anyway,
I said I want to look cool, so I don't want to carry no container to school. So I was bending CDs. So when I bend CDs, I'll get money from that. So make sure I should always have a lot of latest songs. And back then, bending CDs, it was few people who had CD benders back then. So having CD bender, it was a gold mine.
I see.
Okay, so at school, people knew that, okay, if you want the latest songs, the best songs, you go to DJ Toronto, he would definitely get you this collection.
I think Trevor Noah also started like that.
Yeah!
So there you go.
So
you made it.
I was bending CDs. I got a job at Joy FM. And I remember I was the youngest DJ at that time. And I was, I think, 16 years old.
Yeah.
So I started working for Joy TV, Joy Radio. I also worked for Joy TV. Then I was doing these small events, I was working with, back then we had Vic Marley, late Vic Marley, we had the Young Benjamin. So we had people as well during that time that I worked with, in that music industry, So it was very exciting back then, And being a DJ then, I thought like, yes,
you've made it.
I've made it, But then, as life was going, I kept on thinking about, okay, if I become a DJ in Malawi, will I get what I want?
Yeah.
I get all this, I'll ask myself all these questions. Then I look at the life that my father is living, the life that my older brother is building, the life that my young brothers would want to build. And then I'd start doing the maths. Like, something is not what? It's not adding up. I left Malawi, went to England, Going to England, it was more like my mom's prayer. So I remember the time that I had an interview, being the youngest DJ in Malawi. They asked me, what you want to do? Then I said, you know what, I would like to do software engineering, and I would like to go to England. A year after, that's when I left for England. So that's when I believed that you need to be careful what you say.
Yeah, you say a lot of bad words, yeah.
Yes. It can destroy your life, okay, or it can build your life.
Yeah.
It's in the book of Proverbs. I always read that chapter, I'll never forget it. And then I'm like, so my mom like, you see what you said, it has come to pass. And then she woke up, that was I think around 3 or 4 in the morning, she was crying, and then she calls me in the room. She says, you're going to England? I'm like, I'm going to England. She says, yeah, you're going to England. I'm like, okay. And then I started to process my papers. Went to British Embassy, got my visa just like that.
Wow.
3.5 years in a row.
Yeah.
But they used to give 2 years. And then you apply again, renew your visa, Then I got there, then I left. When I was in England, mom says, you know what, you're going to graduate. I'm like, I'm going to graduate. They were tough, how life tough is here. I'm like, okay, cool. But what made me go further was reading the book of Proverbs. Because that gave me knowledge. I believed in knowledge. So I knew that if I want to get knowledge, I'll read this Bible. So my mom bought me a good news Bible, which it was easy for me to understand. So I read that Bible. I kept on reading Proverbs. I don't know for how many months. So I had my little room, a box room, So there's no more that fancy life that I used to live in Malawi. But now I had to learn to humble myself.
Yeah.
Okay, in that way, that's how I also learned to teach my son while he's still young. Because my mom and dad they keep telling us where they're coming from. When we moved from Zimbabwe to Malawi, we used to leave a house in 23. We had a pit toilet. When we eat anything to do with meat, it would be potatoes and steam, and that would feel like we've eaten meat. My mom would tell me when she went to buy, I don't remember the name of this fish, but you need to keep it in water to take out the salt, and then you cook it. That's how you'll be able to eat. But mom, she didn't know about that. She cooked it, So she kept on telling me where we're coming from, how life starts. She didn't just tell us the beauty of where we were, but she had to tell us where we're coming from. That's where I learned that, okay, if you have a child, you better tell them where you're coming from, or they'll never learn, or they'll never humble themselves in life, because it can never be always growly. There's always dark days as well. So they need to be ready for that, because they should be able to say, if daddy went through this, mom and daddy went through this, I'm going through this. It's part of life. So I've seen most parents they'll just show the cream of life. They'll not show them what they go through. Even
So
the hard
kids
times.
take for granted what they have.
They take it for granted.
So do you feel like that's what made you want to be a very, very big part of your son's life, rather than just watching him from a distance, which is what a lot of single dads do? They watch from a distance, let the mom do everything, and they, like you said earlier, they just pay fees and,
I think I wanted him to be my best friend. If you go out there and ask who's Tuno's best friend, or who is my friend, or which crew would you find him, it's hard for someone to mention. But they'll say he's always with his son.
Yeah, that's true.
You see? But for someone to mention, this is his friend, it's so hard. But for them to mention, who does he hang out with? Who does he have the most pictures with? They'll tell you it's his son. So it was my decision to say, he will be my best friend.
So that's how your life changed, isn't it?
It changed a lot.
It
changed a lot. It changed the way I looked at life. After I came back from England, the first birthday I hosted at Chikondi Disability Orphanage Center in India. You were part of it. I remember we did all these presents and stuff, and then we went to drop them off there. Since that time until today, I still visit them. I haven't stopped.
Awesome. That's great.
And I remember, not last year but one, I took my son there. So I said, you're the one who's going to give out these presents. You will get to learn how to share. So he would take the food, the packet, he would give his friend, but you looked at them like, okay, no, they look a bit different from me. I'll give him clothes. I said, you have to learn to share with your friend, and you would share. Food, same thing. So I took all those. I always keep all these videos for him that I'll show him if you like. This is what we've done together. And he saw me. Then after that, I went to the borehole to help the ladies to draw water. When he saw me doing that, then he comes as well, and they're like, he wants to join me. So we started doing it together. And then he saw me helping giving the ladies water, and then he was doing the same thing. So the other thing that I learned with kids is not what you tell them, but your actions. That's what they're copy from. So you always have to be careful what you do in front of them. So when I'm with him, I think one thing I've learned being with him is I was short-tempered.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Minibus drivers, not let him do anything, then, I'm out there, talking and what.
Yeah.
So there was this other day we were driving, I was with him, and then I shouted at the minibus driver there. So he was behind me, and he looked at me and then he was like, Dad, that's bad, don't do that. I felt so bad, Since that time, I think many bus drivers are like, hey, this guy's changed. He doesn't shout anymore.
You become that famous guy in town. It's like, hey, watch out for that one. They know all your cars.
So it changed me the way
Yeah.
I was responding. You know,
Yeah.
even at events, when I started these events after I came back from England, I was too bitter. You know, the situations where we go and then there's all these people, you know, trying to make trouble. You know, I would not reason with them because I'm forgetting this person is drunk or what. I would not even reason with them out, you know. But then with him, everything changed because I'm like, wow, I have to change. What if something would happen to me? What's going to happen to him? He's still young. He still needs me. I don't want him to grow up without a father because I grew up with a father. Okay? Just to see him physical, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
You know, even maybe he wasn't the way I am with my son, but just to see him there, it's a blessing.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Yeah.
But then as a father, it's never too late to get into your son's or child's life.
Yeah.
You know, it's how you're going to welcome it and how you're going to dedicate yourself.
Yeah. So how would you encourage like other dads who, let's say, maybe their kids are much older now, they didn't start from where you did? How would you encourage them to
You know
get
what?
involved?
As I said, if you put something to heart, it comes to pass.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing which is impossible out there.
Yeah.
You know, and if you put God in front of it as well, there's nothing impossible. You can hear all the negative things and what, but if you keep fighting, one day you win him or her. You know, the way people look at me and my dad, they're like, wow, these guys are close. But we're not that close the time I was young.
Yeah.
You know, but now people are like, hey, your dad loves you. Hey, you guys, you guys are the bomb. You guys,
Yeah.
you know, you guys are cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people have seen so many pictures of me and him, videos, us hanging out. You know, and I'll tell you that if I post a picture of me and my dad, it gets more comments and likes than if I post a picture of me and more now. You know,
Yeah.
because of like, wow, okay, he's got that bond with his son, but he also got that bond with his dad. You know, they work together. You know, they're building something together. You know, and forgiveness is another step that we need to take. You know, because the problem with most people is we're too proud to ask for forgiveness. But if you're not in that child's life, even if you go and humble yourself, like, you know what, son, you know what, daughter, I made these mistakes. I'm human. I'm sorry. Because for a parent to tell a child, I'm sorry,
That's big. That's big. And it rarely happens.
it really happens.
Yeah.
But if you swallow that pride and say, this is what I'm going to do, it happens. It works. It's just a matter of time, but you need to be patient.
Yeah.
It's
So is
so
that
gonna
what happened
happen.
with your dad? Sorry to cut you off, but because you weren't close to your dad,
Yeah.
what happened? What was the transition there that brought the closeness, which I think a lot of children crave to have with their parents?
I think I remember that the time I was born, I was born sick. I had TB. You know, so the closest person that I had was my mom.
Yeah.
You know, because of the sickness. And back then I would feel like most of our fathers, they believed that kids belong to the mom, not to the dad. You know, so the mom is the one who takes care of the kids, not the dad. The dad is just a provider for the family.
Yeah.
You know, but then in my case, I needed that attention, not just from my mom, but also needed it from him. You know, but then I would not get that much of that attention that I wanted. But it wasn't just me, but even my other brothers as well. They didn't get that attention. So we're more close to who? To mom. You know? I remember the moment I hear the hooter by the gate, my dad came and I go straight to my room.
I can relate.
You see? But then as I grew up, you know, with my son, when he hears the hooter and he knows that's dad's car,
Yeah.
he comes out running
Yeah, that's
and hugs me.
amazing.
You know?
That is beautiful.
And in Africa, being an African parent, I think telling your male child I love you or I miss you, you know, they'll be like, nice. You know, I can't.
Yeah.
I tell my son that.
Yeah.
I'd call him and say, like, "Oh, I love you." I'm like, "I love you too, Dad. I miss you. I miss you too." You know. And I'd feel good about that.
Yeah.
You know, because those are the words you never hear from an African parent telling their own son.
Yeah.
Maybe they can tell their daughter, they wouldn't know.
It's different. It's different. It varies. you know,
Yes.
so, yeah.
But then I said, you know what? Even if it's your son, hugging your son doesn't necessarily, you don't have to hug only your daughter. Even your son needs
Yeah.
the same attention that you can
Yeah,
give to your daughter.
absolutely.
Hug your son, tell them you love them, tell them you miss them. Trust me, they would feel good.
If you're young,
Do not miss the final part of my chat with Tonderai right here next week on Young Single Mothers.
you better believe you can make it through it. Stand up tall and pay your dues.
This is YSM.